boys is back and reloaded, all in your mouth, yeah, now deep-throated. This is for the streets, the real, the railroaded, the disenfranchised, the truth, the scapegoated.
And they know it, we speak the truth, so they quote it, cause we wrote it. The north, south, the east coast is the GB knocking for keeping your head bobbing. It ain't no stopping,
And once the beat drops in, violins, the system is so corrupt, they throw the rock out their hands and then blame it on us. GB, don't get it twisted, on code and we ain't dancing for no buttermilk biscuits.
How did you find me, man?
Well, you know, it's a small world. You know what I mean?
Because you popped up at my door. I'm like,
yeah. I just know people. I just know people that know people.
That man pulled up at my house, Willie.
And then he pulls up at my house. But before that, he came to me, he said, Will, I got this idea. I want you to be a ghetto boy. And I'm like, nah, I don't want to be in no group.
That's what he told me, and I was like,
I don't want to be in no group. And,
hell no.
And he was like, yeah, man, I got this dude on the south side at the time. You was calling Action. You was known as Action.
We knew it ain't going to work.
DJ Action.
It wasn't going to work.
And I want to put y'all, I want you and him and this other boy to be in the group, right? Boom, boom. So I'm like, nah, I don't want to be in a group. And he was like, do it for me. That's simple, you know what I'm saying?
Mind you, the man is 22 years old.
Well, yeah,
What
he was only
the-
a couple of years young.
What?
He was only a couple of years older than me. But when he said, look, he said, do it for me, right? And I'm thinking like, this dude, out of all the people in the world, this is the dude that's saying, you know what, I see your talent and I want to invest in it. So I could not say no to that when he put it like that. You've always had a way with words.
Man.
Was that a lot of people listen to you and they respect, how you vocalize things, and they respect your mind. Growing up, like who influenced you? Who was that person that you looked at and said, man, I like how he moved, I want to pick up some of those things.
Yeah, I would have to say it begun with my mother. You know what I mean? It begun with my mother. I always tell everybody that was my hero. Wow. You know what I mean? So I watched her. I watched her struggles. You know what I mean? I watched her movements, and I was influenced by them. And then it was my grandmother.
Okay.
You know what I mean? The same thing. The work ethic, the struggles, the trials, the tribulations, like inspired me as a youth, as a young boy, and I vowed at the age of like 7 or 8 years old that I wanted to be the one to break the poverty curse that existed in my family, because every month people was crying and different things over lights getting cut off, or we didn't have food to eat, different things like that. So yeah, my eyes laid on my mother and grandmother first, and from there, I was willing to risk my life for that, for them to be able to have what they wanted.
And that's admirable. I, like you, grew up in a single-parent household, right? And so I picked up some ways from my mom in terms of some survival tactics that I was able to use to my benefit, right? Now, these are females, right? And so when one think like a Jay Prince, they don't think nothing feminine about a Jay Prince, right? A lot of guys who are raised in single-parent households or raised by single mothers, sometimes they don't quite get that the manhood type thing. They don't come. They kind of like, get a lot of those similarities from their mother, and they pick up a lot of those female ways. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
So what I'm saying is that I got my ways. I got my ways that I picked up from my mom. I picked up conflict resolution. Conflict resolution for me, from that I picked up from my mom was...
Willie, you don't have conflict resolution, dude, but go ahead.
Conflict resolution means...
You don't have that, but go ahead.
Listen, first of all, conflict resolution is simply to resolve conflict.
You don't have that, but go ahead.
Do you know you can resolve conflict all kind of ways, right?
Willie, go ahead, bro.
Give me my credit for resolving it the way I resolved it. Back in the day.
You got that.
Back in the day.
Willie.
I ain't saying right where
You
we are right
win.
now. I'm saying back then.
You win, you won.
All right,
You got it. You got conflict resolution from your mom. It's cool.
But I learned to settle conflict with fists, guns, and insults. Okay?
That is.
I gave you that.
That's
other
the Willie
piece,
D I know. Go ahead.
I learned this, that's what I got from my mom, right?
Mm-hmm.
So going from that, I got that, but then there's other things that people would tell you all the time, that it takes a man to raise a man. So that respect thing, that standing for something thing, that fighting the biggest fights, the biggest battles, the biggest gangsters, whoever bringing it, if like you said in the song, the first album that we put out, if you want to go to war, I'll take you to war.
Mm-hmm. Dig it.
That right there.
Yeah.
How do you convey that to youngsters out there who may be being raised by mothers? And it's not to take away anything from single mothers, but there is a shortage of courage when it comes to men, young men out there, in my opinion. I think there's a shortage of courage and a shortage of ethics, a shortage of a street code, a shortage of respect that I don't think that a person can just get without having some type of male influence, whether that person be in front of you, in the household with you, or somebody you're watching on television or whatever. That's got to come from somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I definitely agree that a man role is important, but, I'm definitely a recipe of a household where the man was missing. And so many of us, I don't even want to call it a victim, but so many of us come from households where boys don't raise their kids, you know what I mean? Because we can't even call them a man if they abandon their kids and their loved ones. So you have to qualify to be called a man. So boys, may disappear or whatnot, and then what end up happening and what happened to me, where outside of a woman embracing me, was the hood. You know what I mean? Fifth Ward was homies on the blocks, was stepfathers. You know what I mean? I had males in my life in a combination of ways that helped shape and mold me to become, who I became.
All right.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
And that's why, like with the hood, I'm so adamant about those that abandon the hood. You know what I mean? Once you make it, when this place helped shape and mold you to become who you became.
Man, I spent a lot of time with your dad, bro.
Yeah.
And I would have put all of that. I would have put all of what you are on him.
Yeah.
Because after hanging out with Ernest so much and so long, it's all that's you.
Yeah.
Like you may not have known Ernest or may not have been with Ernest early part of your life.
Yeah.
But man, you are Ernest Prince to the T. Like the whole thing. And the brothers.
Yeah, you can't get away from those genetics.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Those genetics of who you are, whether you know. Like, I didn't know my biological.
Well, he was a gangster.
Dad, you know what I mean?
Yeah, Ernest Prince was a gangster.
They started calling me Lil Prince before I knew who I was.
Damn.
You know what I mean? So I missed that side of it, but it was real fruitful to be able to tap into him after I got grown.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, it was a missing link. You know what I mean? It was a void that no other male could fill. So that's how important it is for a man, for a father, to be involved with his son. Nobody can fill those shoes.
The trip part about that, mentioning Ernest, is that from a distance, no one could ever tell that he wasn't there all the time, because
for real.
y'all were